Before the word, in the silence before time, before suns ignited and before stars sang, there was not emptiness, there was vibration. A hum so subtle it could not yet be measured, but so infinite it contained galaxies waiting to be born. Ancient seers told us that the first principle of creation was not stone or fire, but sound. The Vedas declare it, Nada Brahma, sound is God. Mystics across cultures agreed, the universe was sung into being. And at the heart of that song was a single syllable, Om. Om, the sound behind all sounds. What is Om? To the untrained ear, it may sound like a simple vibration, a drawn-out syllable. But to the yogis, Om was the seed of the cosmos.
The Mandukya Upanishad says, Om is all this, the past, the present, the future. All that was, is, and will be is Om. And beyond that too is Om. Om is not just a chant, it is a map. The A vibrates in the root, the base of the body, the primal surge of existence. The U rolls upward, resonating in the chest and throat, expanding into form. The M hums in the skull, vibrating the crown, dissolving into silence. And then there is the fourth state, the silence after Om, the pause that contains infinity. The ancients said, this silence is not absence, it is the womb of all sounds, the void from which the serpent stirs. The Greeks knew this truth in their own way. Pythagoras, mystic and mathematician, taught of the music of the spheres, that planets and stars move in cosmic harmonies, inaudible but real. He believed the ratios of music, octaves, fifths, chords, were the same laws that governed the heavens. When Kundalini awakens, seekers often hear inner tones, high-pitched ringing, bells, flutes. These are not hallucinations, they are resonances. They are the microcosmic echo of the macrocosmic music. The same harmony that binds galaxies is humming inside the marrow of your bones. The serpent is not just energy, it is vibration. It is sound woven into form.
The silent serpent before the song. Myths tell of a serpent coiled in the void before creation. In India, it is Ananta Shesha, the endless serpent upon which Vishnu rests, dreaming the worlds. In Egypt, it is Mehen, the cosmic serpent coiled around Ra. In the Norse myths, it is Jormungandr, the world serpent encircling the seas. In every tale, the serpent waits in silence, still, unmoving, but pregnant with vibration. And when the sound begins, the Om, the word, the cosmic strike of vibration, the serpent stirs, uncoils, and the universe begins to move. Kundalini, within us, mirrors this. It is silent, coiled, dormant at the root. But when the inner sound is awakened, when the seeker begins to hear the subtle hum of the anahata nada, the unstruck sound, the serpent rises. Creation begins again within the body itself. The unstruck sound, the anahata nada. In yogic traditions, there is a sound that does not come from contact, from striking objects together. It is called the anahata nada, the unstruck sound. It is not heard with ears. It is heard with the soul. During deep meditation, seekers describe it. The faint ring of bells behind closed eyes, the hum of bees vibrating in the skull, the rushing sound of wind, though no wind is blowing, a low cosmic drone like the engine of the universe itself. This is the sound of the serpent stirring. It is the sign that Kundalini has touched the inner strings of the body. It is the beginning of a symphony, played not by instruments, but by your own DNA. The serpent as sine wave. Modern science sees it too. Sound is vibration, waves of pressure moving through air. When drawn, it is a curve, a sine wave, coiling back and forth. And what is the serpent in every myth? A coil, a spiral, a wave. The serpent is sound given form. The Kundalini rising up the spine is not just energy. It is the sine wave of creation, climbing the ladder of vertebrae like notes on a cosmic scale. The body is the instrument. The serpent is the vibration. The awakening is the song. Om and the body's instrument. Chant Om long enough, and the body becomes a resonator. The chest vibrates, the skull hums, the spine tingles. Modern machines show that chanting lowers heart rate, synchronizes brainwaves, and creates coherence in the nervous system. But beyond the science, there is experience. The serpent stirs. The pineal lamp glows. The seeker hears the unstruck sound echoing louder and louder. Every mantra is a tuning fork. Every chant is a key. And Om is the master chord, the vibration that aligns serpent and lamp, spine and cosmos. The Word and the Flesh. In Christian mysticism, Christ is called the Logos, the Word. He is not simply a man, but vibration made flesh, sound clothed in body. This mirrors Kundalini, the serpent of sound descending into matter, asleep in the body, waiting to return upward to light. When Kundalini rises, the Logos rises again. The Word becomes flesh within us, and the flesh becomes Word. The serpent of sound unites with the lamp of light. The invitation of Om. Close your eyes. Whisper Om. Feel the vibration at the base of your spine. Let it rise into your chest, into your throat, into your skull. Notice how the sound does not end when your lips close. It continues within, a hum that is not external but eternal. That is the unstruck sound. That is the serpent stirring. That is creation being sung again inside you. The forgotten truth. We live in an age of noise. Our world is full of chatter, distraction, artificial sound. But the ancients knew that silence contains the greatest sound of all,
the sound before the beginning, the sound that created galaxies, the sound of the serpent waiting to rise. We have forgotten how to listen, but Kundalini remembers. And when it awakens, the first gift it offers is hearing. Not of ears, but of soul. Not of words, but of Om. Manipura roars like fire, crackling and burning. Anahata sings with the flute of air, unstruck bells. Vishuddha vibrates with pure resonance, the sound of truth. Ajna hums with subtle tones, a high ringing of insight. Sahasrara dissolves into silence, which is not absence, but infinity. The serpent rises as frequency. Each chakra is a note. The spine is a scale. The human is an instrument of the universe. The cosmic symphony. Imagine all humans as instruments, each spine a scale, each Kundalini a serpent string. When one awakens, a single song is heard. When many awaken, a symphony is born. The ancients called it the music of the spheres. Today, we might call it harmonic resonance, but in truth, it is one thing, the sound of the cosmos remembering itself. Conclusion. The first sound. The serpent of sound has always been here. It coiled in the void before creation. It whispered Om at the dawn of the universe. It hums now in your marrow, in your DNA, in the silence behind your thoughts. The first sound is the last sound. The Om that birthed galaxies is the Om that awakens you. The serpent of vibration rises, the lamp ignites, and the word becomes flesh once more. Listen carefully. The universe is still singing, and so are you. The body as an instrument. When you look at the body, you might see flesh and bone, but the mystics saw something else, an instrument tuned to the cosmos, capable of vibrating with the music of creation itself. The spine is not just a column of vertebrae. It is a flute with hidden holes. It is a harp strung with nerves. It is a drum that resonates with every heartbeat. And at its base, coiled like a silent spring, waits the serpent, not only of energy, but of frequency. Kundalini is not just fire. Kundalini is vibration. The coiled frequency. A serpent does not move in straight lines. It coils, it waves, it undulates. So too does sound. The sine wave, the simplest pattern of vibration, is nothing more than a serpent drawn on paper.
a line rising and falling, coiling back and forth. When Kundalini is described as a serpent, it is not only metaphor, it is physics. It is the body recognizing that its primal energy moves in waves. To awaken Kundalini is to awaken the sine wave of the body, to feel every cell resonate as though struck by an invisible tuning fork. The 33 strings of the spine. Why 33 vertebrae? Why this ladder of bone? The ancients saw the spine as a stringed instrument. Each vertebrae is a fret, a marker where vibration changes pitch. When the serpent rises, it plays the body like a sitar. Each chakra becomes a note, a harmonic resonance vibrating in sequence. At the root, the sound is deep and primal, a bass note. At the sacral, it begins to ripple like water. At the solar plexus, it crackles like fire. At the heart, it begins to sing. At the throat, it vibrates with resonance. At the brow, it hums with high frequency. At the crown, it dissolves into silence, which is sound's highest octave. The body is an instrument of 7 strings. Kundalini is the hand that strums them. The twin currents, Ida and Pingala. In yogic tradition, Kundalini rises not only through the central channel, Sushumna, but dances with 2 companions, Ida and Pingala. Ida, lunar, cooling, feminine, flowing left. Pingala, solar, warming, masculine, flowing right. Together they spiral around the spine like twin serpents, crossing at each chakra like sine waves intersecting. This is not symbolic art. It is resonance, physics embodied. When sound waves overlap, they create interference patterns. When Ida and Pingala overlap, they create life. They modulate the serpent, shaping its path, tuning its vibration. The body becomes a living waveform, harmonizing lunar and solar into one rising current. The serpent as breath. Every inhalation vibrates the spine. Every exhalation resonates through the body. The yogis discovered that when breath is tuned through pranayama, through rhythm, through mantra, the serpent stirs. Fast, shallow breath excites it. Slow, deep breath calms it. The breath of fire ignites it. And silent retention holds it still, coiling energy until it bursts upward like a plucked string. Breath is frequency. Kundalini is the serpent that rides it. The body as resonance chamber. Every temple is built to echo sound. The pyramids, the cathedrals, the stone circles, all designed to amplify vibration. But the first temple is the body. The ribcage resonates like a drum. The skull acts like a bell. The spine is a staff of resonance. When a mantra is chanted, the body hums, the bones vibrate, the serpent stirs. This is why sacred architecture mirrors anatomy. The body is not in the temple. The body is the temple. The language of frequency. Every chakra vibrates at a frequency.
Ancient seers matched them with syllables, sounds, mantras. Lam for the root, Vam for the sacral, Ram for the solar plexus, Yam for the heart, Ham for the throat, Om for the brow, silence for the crown. These are not arbitrary. They are the syllables that resonate with the serpent's rise, the vowels of creation. Chant them, and the body becomes a resonating chamber. Chant them, and the serpent climbs. The dance of resonance. When two frequencies align, they create harmony. When they clash, they create dissonance. Kundalini is harmony embodied. When the serpent rises, every chakra tunes to its proper note. When out of tune, we feel dissonance, illness, imbalance, disharmony. When in tune, we feel harmony, health, clarity, bliss. The body is an orchestra. The serpent is the conductor.
DNA, the inner resonator. Science now whispers what mystics shouted. DNA is not just a chemical code, it is a resonator. It vibrates, it responds to frequency, it emits light. The double helix is a spiral antenna. It hums with cosmic vibration. When Kundalini rises, DNA sings, biophotons stream, genes awaken, and dormant codes activate. Every mantra, every chant, every vibration is a tuning fork striking DNA, awakening its coiled serpent of potential. The serpent's song in silence. Strangely, seekers often hear sound in silence. When all external noise is gone, a subtle hum remains. Some call it tinnitus, but mystics called it the voice of Kundalini, the subtle ringing of the serpent moving through channels unseen. This is why silence is not empty. Silence is filled with sound too fine for ears, too subtle for machines, but loud enough for the soul. The vibrational serpent in myth. Why did cultures across the world imagine the serpent? Because they all experienced the same vibration. In Mesoamerica, Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent, was worshipped as bringer of knowledge. In Egypt, the Uraeus serpent rose from the brow of the pharaoh. In India, Kundalini Shakti is serpent fire. In Norse myths, Jörmungandr coils around the world. The serpent is universal because vibration is universal. The hum of energy moving through the spine, the sine wave of existence itself, is everywhere. The serpent is not metaphor, it is memory. The body as cosmic harp. The yogis described 72,000 nadis, channels of energy within the body. This is not superstition. It is the mapping of resonance lines, strings of the inner harp. Pluck them with breath, tune them with mantra, strike them with meditation. The serpent rises, and the harp sings. The invitation to feel. Close your eyes. Inhale deeply. Exhale slowly. Now hum a simple tone. Notice how the chest vibrates. Notice how the skull resonates. Notice how the spine tingles faintly. That is the serpent stirring. Not metaphor, not myth. Frequency, vibration. The serpent is not only to be seen, It is to be felt, the ladder of frequency. The serpent's journey is the journey of sound itself, from bass note to high pitch, from earth rumble to sky hum, from silence into song, and song back into silence. The 33 vertebrae are not only steps of bone, they are steps of frequency. The serpent climbs them, note by note, until it reaches the crown, where sound dissolves into pure silence, and silence becomes infinite vibration. Conclusion: the serpent of vibration. Kundalini is not just fire, it is sound embodied. The spine is not just structure, it is resonance. The serpent is not metaphor, it is sine wave. When it rises, you do not just see visions, you hear them. You feel vibration coursing through marrow and muscle. You become instrument, resonator, string of the cosmos. And then you realize the serpent has always been singing. You simply had to listen. The words that shape the world. Humanity has always known that words are more than communication. Words are vibration. Words are power. In every tradition, creation begins with sound. Not any sound, sacred sound. In Egypt, the god Thoth spoke the names of creation, and worlds formed. In the Bible, God said, "Let there be light," and light appeared. In India, the rishis heard mantras, cosmic syllables vibrating through eternity, and repeated them to align with truth. The ancients did not chant for poetry. They chanted to tune the serpent. They chanted to open the pineal lamp. They chanted to awaken. The lost science of mantra. Today, mantra is treated as relaxation technique, but to the mystics, mantra was technology. Each syllable was a code. Each sound was a tuning fork striking specific notes along the spine. Mantra is not prayer. It does not beg. Mantra is command. It vibrates. It aligns. It resonates. When chanted correctly, it awakens the serpent and guides it upward. Think of the body as a harp. Mantras are the fingers plucking its strings. Without them, the serpent coils silently. With them, it begins to dance. Om, Amen, Aum, Hu. Across the world, sacred syllables echo one another. Om, Aum, Vedic seed sound, the vibration of the universe. Amen, Hebrew and Christian prayer ending, echo of Om. Hu, Sufi chant, sound of God's breath. I-A-O, Gnostic invocation, trinity of vowels echoing cosmic harmony. Different cultures, same vibration. Different names, same serpent. These words are not coincidence. They are fragments of an ancient science, a science of sound as serpent fire. The mantra as map. Each chakra has its bija mantra, its seed sound. Root, Lam. Sacral, Vam. Solar plexus, Ram. Heart, Yam. Throat, Hum. Brow, Om. Crown, silence.
Each syllable strikes a chord, like plucking a string. Each vibration awakens a center, spinning it into harmony. When chanted in sequence, they form a scale, a ladder. The serpent rises on this ladder of sound. Mantra is map. Without it, we wander. With it, we climb. Temples of sound. Ancient temples were not just stone, they were sound chambers. The hypogeum in Malka, carved to resonate with low-frequency chants. Egyptian temples, designed with hidden acoustic chambers. Gothic cathedrals, where Gregorian chants filled arches with vibration. Tibetan monasteries, where deep-throat singing shakes walls like thunder. The serpent responds to environment. A chamber designed for resonance amplifies it. This is why initiates trained in sacred spaces. The temple was an amplifier. The mantra was the key. The priesthood of sound. Why were these mantras hidden? Why were they restricted to initiates? Because sound bypasses control. Because sound awakens directly. Because sound makes each seeker sovereign. If every person could tune serpent and lamp with syllables, what need of priests? What need of kings? Better, then, to hide the mantras. Better to declare them forbidden or reduce them to hollow ritual. And so the science of sound was scattered, buried, forgotten. Shamans and the songs of serpents. But not entirely forgotten. In the Amazon, shamans sing Icaros, sacred songs during ayahuasca ceremonies. They say the songs guide the serpents of vision. Seekers under medicine report seeing DNA-like spirals of sound, serpents made of light weaving through them. In Tibet, monks chant overtone harmonics, creating two notes with one voice. They say these vibrations pierce illusion, carrying the serpent to the lamp. In Sufism, dervishes chant Hu while whirling, feeling serpent fire rise through spinning. Mantras lived on, not in textbooks, but in breath, in rhythm, in hidden corners of the world. The science of resonance. Modern science now confirms what mystics always knew. Sound shapes matter. In cymatics experiments, sand on plates forms mandalas when exposed to vibration. The higher the frequency, the more intricate the pattern. Is this not exactly what yogis described? Chakras as spinning mandalas of vibration. Is this not the serpent rising, tuning matter into sacred geometry through sound? DNA itself vibrates at frequencies. It responds to words, chants, even intention. The serpent in our cells waits for sound to awaken it. The anahata, the unstruck sound. Among the mantras, there is one more mysterious than all. The sound not chanted, but heard. The anahata nada, the unstruck sound. Mystics say it arises spontaneously when the serpent stirs. Bells, flutes, drums, cosmic hum. It is not made by the mouth, but by the body itself resonating. This is the serpent singing. This is the body remembering its own music. This is mantra beyond words. Forgotten, yet remembered. Though many mantras were hidden, fragments remain. Every religion, every culture holds echoes. Chants in cathedrals, prayers repeated in rhythm.
songs of longing that stir the chest. All are attempts to reclaim the forgotten science of sound. All are echoes of serpent fire. The invitation. Speak the keys. If you seek to awaken, you do not need complex rituals. You need sound. Sit, breathe, chant.
Let the serpent feel the vibration. Let the lamp ignite. Every word is a key. Every mantra is a code. The forgotten keys are still here, waiting in your throat, waiting on your tongue, waiting in your breath. Conclusion: the power of sacred word. Kundalini is serpent fire. The pineal is lamp of light. But sound is the bridge. Without sound, the serpent coils silently. With sound, it rises. Without mantra, the lamp remains dim. With mantra, it blazes. The ancients knew this. The mystics preserved it. The seekers rediscover it. The forgotten mantras are not lost. They are within you. Speak them, sing them, chant them, and the serpent will remember, and the lamp will shine, and the sound of creation will rise again. The hidden language of nature. For centuries, mystics said, all is vibration. Science dismissed it as poetry. Now, science itself whispers the same thing. At the smallest scales, matter is not solid. It is vibration. Atoms hum. Electrons oscillate. Strings of energy vibrate in higher dimensions, weaving the fabric of reality. The ancients saw it in meditation. The scientists now see it in equations. All things sing. All things glow. All things are frequency. The serpent was never myth. It was vibration, coiling in silence until we learned to listen. DNA, the spiral antenna. Inside each cell coils a serpent of its own, DNA. Two strands spiraling, crossing like sine waves, climbing like serpents up a staff. DNA is not passive. It is not only blueprint. DNA is an antenna. It absorbs light. It emits light. It vibrates with sound. Scientists have measured DNA emitting biophotons, tiny packets of light, like a candle burning in every cell. They've shown DNA can be tuned by sound frequencies, vibrating like a harp string. In myth, the serpent was always linked to wisdom. In science, DNA is the library of life. Myth and science are pointing to the same coiled truth. Biophotons, the light within. When Kundalini awakens, seekers often describe flashes of light, visions of radiant fire, inner suns rising in the skull. Skeptics say hallucination, but science suggests something else. Biophoton research reveals every cell glows faintly. The pineal gland glows brightest. DNA spirals emit coherent light like a laser. When the serpent rises, these lights synchronize, flooding perception with radiance. The ancients called it enlightenment. Science might call it biophoton coherence.
Both point to the same thing. The serpent becomes light.
Cymatics, the geometry of sound. Place sand on a vibrating plate and it dances. Low frequencies create simple circles. Higher frequencies create intricate mandalas. This is cymatics, the visible geometry of sound. The ancients carved these patterns on temple walls, mandalas, yantras, flowers of life. They were not decoration, they were sound made visible. The chakras are described as lotuses, wheels with petals. Science shows sound creates identical patterns. Chant a mantra, and the serpent tunes the body into cymatic harmony. Your body is cymatics incarnate. Your DNA is a mandala spiraling in sound. The serpent of light and sound. When shamans drink ayahuasca, they see serpents of light weaving through visions. They hear songs, the Icaros, that guide the serpents. Modern biophysics says the DMT surge in the brain excites pineal light, amplifies DNA photons, and creates synesthetic visions of sound as light.
The serpent is not hallucination. It is vibration embodied. Sound becomes light. Light becomes serpent. The pineal resonator. The pineal gland is tiny, smaller than a pea, yet mystics called it the seat of the soul. Why? Because it resonates. It is piezoelectric, sensitive to pressure, to vibration, to light. It contains microcrystals of calcite that vibrate like radio receivers. It secretes DMT, amplifying visions. It glows with biophotons, a lamp hidden in the skull. When the serpent reaches it, the lamp ignites. Light floods the inner vision. The seeker sees beyond flesh. Science calls it altered state. Mystics call it awakening. The forgotten frequency. Why was modern music tuned to 440 Hz when ancient instruments were tuned closer to 332 Hz? The latter resonates with natural harmonic ratios, aligning with Schumann resonance, the Earth's heartbeat. Conspiracy or coincidence, tuning was shifted. The serpent's natural harmony was replaced with subtle dissonance. Modern life hums out of tune. Yet seekers retune themselves with mantra, with chanting, with silence. The serpent remembers the original frequency. The harmony of the chakras. Each chakra resonates with a frequency range. Scientists have correlated chakra positions with nerve plexuses and endocrine glands, each vibrating electrically. Mystics assign syllables, colors, sounds. When Kundalini rises, it does not just ignite fire, it tunes frequencies. Like an orchestra being brought into harmony. The serpent is not only fire, it is conductor. Light as teacher. In visions, many describe meeting beings of light or feeling suffused with radiant presence. Perhaps these are archetypes. Perhaps they are higher dimensional consciousness. But biophysics hints, light itself carries information. DNA emits biophotons not randomly, but in patterns, like Morse code of light. Could it be that DNA is not only storage, but transmitter? That light is language, and awakening allows us to read it. The ancients said enlightenment is becoming light. Science says we already are.
The serpent and the song of cells. Each cell vibrates. Each strand of DNA hums. Together, trillions of cells form a choir. When misaligned, the song is discord, disease. When aligned, it is harmony, health. Kundalini awakening may be nothing less than the choir of cells coming into tune. The serpent is not just energy climbing, it is the conductor of the cellular symphony. From myth to measurement. Once, serpent visions were dismissed as hallucinations. Today, machines can measure. Brain waves shifting during chanting, DNA vibrating in response to frequency, biophotons glowing from pineal tissue. The serpent that sages saw in trance is the same vibration that scientists see in laboratories. The bridge is closing. Myth and science are converging. The invitation to listen and see.
Close your eyes. Chant a sound, Om, or even a hum. Notice how your skull vibrates. Notice the shimmer of light behind eyelids. Notice the serpent stirring in spine. This is not imagination. This is vibration. This is the serpent reminding you that body is instrument, DNA is antenna, pineal is lamp. The science confirms what mystics always knew. You are woven of light and sound. Conclusion: the science of vibration. The serpent is sine wave. The pineal is lamp. DNA is spiral antenna. Together, they form a symphony, vibration into light, sound into serpent, serpent into awakening. The ancients described it as myth. The mystics described it as vision. The scientists describe it as frequency.
But they are all describing the same truth. The serpent of Kundalini is not fire alone. It is vibration. It is light. It is the very song of your cells. And when you awaken it, you do not just see light, you hear it. You do not just hear sound, you see it. You become sound made flesh and flesh made light. The war on sound. If sound is creation, if vibration is the key to awakening the serpent, then controlling sound is controlling consciousness. The ancients knew this. The rulers too. When humanity remembered the Serpent of Light, we were sovereign. But when the serpent was feared, when sound was twisted, we became slaves to noise. This is the story of how the serpent's song was silenced. The serpent becomes the enemy. Once the serpent was sacred. The uraeus crowned Pharaoh. Quetzalcoatl brought wisdom. Kundalini was Shakti herself. But as empires shifted, so did symbols. In Eden, the serpent became tempter. In medieval Europe, the dragon became demon. In the Inquisition, chants of indigenous people were branded witchcraft. The serpent of sound was turned into a monster. The key was demonized, so no one would dare to use it. The silence of the temples. Walk into ancient temples, and you can still feel it. The acoustics tuned for chant, the echo chambers carved for resonance. The hypogeum of Malta amplifies deep tones into haunting resonance. The king's chamber of the Great Pyramid vibrates at 432 hertz. Stone circles like Stonehenge align with sound as much as light. But when conquerors came, the chants ceased. Priests were silenced, flutes broken, mantras forbidden. The temples grew quiet, not because the stones had lost their power, but because humanity had been forbidden to sing within them. From mantra to prayer. Mantras were once living codes, syllables that struck the serpent like a string. But over time, they became prayers. No longer resonance, but petition. No longer tuning, but begging. Words like amen shifted from vibration to ritual. Repetition was stripped of its sonic science. Chanting was reduced to rote recitation. The serpent slept again. The Inquisition against sound. In the Middle Ages, sound was feared. Women who sang in strange tongues were accused of witchcraft. Villagers who chanted in the old ways were burned. Shamans who drummed were hunted. The Inquisition was not only against heresy, it was against resonance, against the serpent stirring through vibration. Silence was enforced, and when silence could not be, dissonance was imposed. The weaponization of frequency. Sound heals, but sound also harms. The same serpent that awakens can also destroy. Armies discovered drums could drive soldiers into frenzy. Trumpets could paralyze enemies with fear. Later, scientists found sonic weapons, ultrasound that rattles bones, infrasound that induces dread. Even in music, tuning was altered. The natural resonance of 432 hertz, said to align with the Earth's heartbeat, was replaced by 440 hertz, slightly dissonant, subtly agitating. The orchestra of humanity was retuned off balance. Coincidence or deliberate suppression of harmony? Noise as distraction. In the modern age, the war on sound changed form. Not silence, but noise. Endless chatter, artificial frequencies, industrial hum. The constant drone of engines, machines, and advertisements. We no longer hear the unstruck sound because it is drowned. We no longer feel resonance because we are numbed. Noise is the new chain. Distraction is the new silence. The fear of the inner sound. Why would rulers fear sound? Because sound bypasses them. A mantra does not ask permission. A chant does not require church or priest. The serpent rises directly. And when the serpent rises, control collapses. A sovereign being cannot be enslaved. A person tuned to the sound of creation cannot be manipulated by false words. Better then to suppress it, to mock it,
to turn it into superstition, to invert it into fear.
The lost songs of the earth. Indigenous peoples held on longer than most. The shaman sang Icaros in the Amazon. The First Nations drummed to the heartbeat of earth. The Aboriginals of Australia played didgeridoos to echo the dream time. But colonization silenced them too. Drums were banned, sacred dances outlawed, songs of the serpent called primitive, backward. And yet, the songs survived, hidden in jungles, whispers in deserts, hums in caves, waiting for seekers to remember.
Yet silence cannot last. The serpent always returns. Today, seekers rediscover the science of sound. Cymatics showing vibration shapes matter. Music therapy aligning brain waves. Mantras synchronizing heart and breath. DNA responding to frequency. What was hidden is rising again. The serpent cannot be silenced forever. The invitation to reclaim sound. The serpent of sound was suppressed, but suppression is not the end. You can reclaim it. Chant, hum, sing. Not to perform, not to entertain, but to tune. Every voice is a tuning fork. Every breath is a mantra. The serpent stirs with every vibration. No empire can silence what hums inside you. No noise can drown the sound of your soul. The sonic serpent waits only for your voice.
Conclusion. The sonic serpent will rise again. For centuries, humanity was cut off from its own sound. The serpent was demonized, the lamp dimmed, the music silenced. But the serpent remembers. The DNA remembers. The pineal lamp remembers. And now, in the age of forgetting, the serpent of sound rises again. Not in temples, not in empires, but in you. Listen, chant, vibrate. The serpent is not gone, it is only waiting. And when you awaken it, you will remember. You are not only flesh, you are resonance. You are not only mind, you are music. You are the serpent's song returning. The long silence before the note. For centuries, humanity has endured that silence. The serpent was chained, the lamp was dimmed, the mantras forgotten, the music lost beneath the static of empire, industry, and noise. But silence is not emptiness. Silence is potential. Silence is the breath before the note. And now the serpent moves again. A sound long suppressed begins to vibrate once more, not in temples of stone, but in the living temples of flesh and blood. Humanity is tuning itself, preparing to play again. The awakening of the inner orchestra. Each human is an instrument, each spine a staff of notes, each chakra a resonant chamber. When Kundalini stirs, it plays the individual like a harp. But what happens when millions awaken together? Imagine humanity as an orchestra. Some resonate as drums, grounding bass notes at the root.
Others vibrate as flutes, carrying wind across the heart. Still others shine as violins, stringing high frequencies in the crown. When aligned, these instruments do not clash, they harmonize. Together they form a symphony of light, a collective serpent awakening that no power can silence. The return of the sacred frequency.
Inside you, trillions of cells vibrate. Each strand of DNA hums like a tiny string. When aligned, your body sings as a choir. When Kundalini awakens, coherence spreads. The serpent conducts the cellular orchestra, tuning discord into harmony. Health, clarity, peace emerge. But scale this to humanity. Billions of bodies, each resonant, each glowing with biophoton light. Imagine a planet where every being hums in tune. This is not fantasy. This is the next octave of evolution. DNA is not only memory, it is instrument, and humanity is beginning to play together. The light that sings. Light and sound are not separate. Science shows photons can be influenced by vibration. Cymatics reveals sound creates light-light patterns. Biophoton research suggests DNA emits coherent light like a living laser. What happens when the serpent rises fully? The body becomes an instrument of light and sound together. A light body, a rainbow body, an awakened human whose very presence vibrates harmony into the world. The ancients saw it in prophets with halos, saints with radiant crowns, Buddhas surrounded by mandalas of fire. They were not symbols, they were descriptions. Light that sings, sound that shines. The serpent fully awakened. The collective awakening. Prophecies across cultures point to a time when the trumpet will sound, when the 7 seals will open, when the age of darkness will give way to the age of light. What if these were not external events, but inner awakenings? What if the trumpet is the collective vibration of humanity? What if the seals are chakras unlocking across the globe? The collective serpent is stirring. Across the world, more people meditate, chant, seek silence, align with frequency. The noise is still loud, but beneath it hums a deeper song. The symphony is rehearsing. The end of dissonance. We know dissonance well. Wars are dissonance. Hatred is dissonance. Disease is dissonance. But harmony is possible. Harmony does not erase difference. It weaves it into beauty. In music, no instrument dominates. Each plays its note, and the whole is made richer. So too with humanity. Each culture, each voice, each frequency is needed. The serpent does not rise in sameness. It rises in resonance. The new world will not be built by conquest, but by choir. Not by silence, but by symphony. The serpent and the sun. In myth, the serpent often swallows the sun or coils around it. In awakening, serpent and sun unite. Kundalini rises to the pineal lamp, ignites it, and together they blaze as the inner sun. This is the destiny of humanity, to awaken the sun within, to become radiant beings, shining not with borrowed light, but with the song of our own cells, the music of our own DNA. The serpent and the lamp are not separate. They are two halves of one instrument. When they unite, the sun is reborn, not in the sky, but in us. The invitation to join the symphony. This is not distant prophecy. It begins now, with you, with breath, with sound, with silence. Chant a single syllable. Hum softly in your chest. Feel the resonance spread through bone, through skin, through spine. The serpent stirs. The lamp glows. Do this alone, and you awaken. Do this together, and humanity awakens. The Symphony of Light is waiting. Each voice is needed. Each note matters. Each serpent must rise. Conclusion. Toward the Symphony of Light. The serpent was silenced, but not slain. The sound was hidden, but not destroyed. The lamp was dimmed, but never extinguished. Now the serpent rises again. Now the sound returns. Now the lamp burns as inner sun. The future is not silence. The future is symphony. A chorus of awakened beings vibrating in harmony with creation. A serpent of fire coiling into light. A world singing itself back into wholeness. Listen, sing, vibrate, awaken. The serpent's song is not coming, it is already here, and you are part of its music. There comes a moment, after the chanting ends and the bells fade, when silence returns. But this silence is not emptiness. It is full. It is alive. It hums with what has just been sung. Every seeker who has touched Kundalini knows this moment. The serpent rises, the lamp ignites, sound floods the body, and then, suddenly, quiet. But the quiet is not absence. It is presence. It is the last note stretched so long it becomes silence itself. Mystics called it the anahata nada, the unstruck sound, the sound that is always there, humming beneath thought, beneath heartbeat, beneath even breath, the sound that does not begin and does not end. Science calls it vibration at the root of matter. Mystics call it the voice of God. You may call it what you will, but you cannot deny it. It is here, now, always. The serpent's return. The serpent's journey is never linear. It rises, it coils, it disappears, it returns. Each of us will hear the sound, then lose it, then hear it again. The serpent is patient. The lamp never truly goes dark. What matters is not to grasp it, but to remember it. To carry its hum in daily life even when noise drowns it out. To feel it in the quiet moments, when you wake in the night, when you breathe in silence, when you close your eyes and listen deeper than ears can reach. The serpent is there, always, beneath the chatter, waiting for you to remember. The note
beyond time. Every tradition pointed here. The Vedas spoke of Om, beyond birth and death. The Gospel of John called it the Word through which all things were made. Shamans heard it as the hiss of serpents in visions. Pythagoras heard it in the harmony of planets. All were hearing the same thing. The first sound, the last sound, the note beyond time. We are not separate from it. We are made of it. Your bones are carved by it. Your DNA spirals to it. Your thoughts rise and fall like waves within it. To awaken is not to create something new. It is to remember the sound that has always been here. The invitation. So, here we stand at the close of this story, yet not at its end. Because the story is not only in temples or in scriptures or in the hidden schools of sound. The story is in you. The serpent hums in your spine. The lamp glows in your skull. The symphony waits in your cells. Close your eyes. Take a breath. Listen, not with ears, but with the silence beyond them. The sound is already here. The serpent already sings. And if you dare to join it, you will discover you were never only flesh. You were never only thought. You were and are and will be song itself.